Welcome to the July 15th, 2016 edition of Colorado Inside Out Postgame, a special web exclusive production here on Channel 12. Let's get a quick take on Denver Mayor Michael Hancock's State of the City address, reinforcing his $150 million plan to increase affordable housing. The proposal on how to pay for the program will include fees to developers and a property tax hike for Denverites. Patty Calhoun from Westward and a very famous Denverite herself. What do you think of the whole State of the City address and the idea that Denverites who have seen their property values skyrocket in the last decade might be paying a little bit more for some affordable housing programs?
Well, we are going to hear a lot about this program in the months ahead, especially if we wind up having to vote for it on the November ballot. I want to talk a little bit about the State of the City itself. Really nice visuals for the State of the City. Mayor Hancock went out to DIA, so you go to the plaza between the Westin, which is definitely a win over the last year. Take the train out, the A-line out, which is definitely a win over the last year. And so the visuals were beautiful, that he had really gotten a lot done. It also reminded people, though, that while that is booming and soon we're going to have the Aerotropolis and everything else, that people in the core city of Denver are worried about potholes and they're worried about their dumpsters being gone and things being full of trash and they're worried about traffic. And Hancock did talk about expanding opportunity for everyone, including the economically struggling. But there are a lot of people who are economically struggling who've lived in Denver a long time and you wouldn't say are impoverished. They're just having some tough times. So this city really needs to focus on a lot of what's going wrong. And some of what's going wrong is now supposed to be subsidized by those developers who are going to pay for affordable housing. How about we make the developers talk to the neighborhoods they're screwing up first?
David Copel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. We didn't hear a lot about big projects from Mayor Hancock in this speech. We did hear more focused work on, as Patty brought up, the folks in Denver not enjoying great success in this part of the economy. Is the proposed way to pay for the affordable housing program a good way to go?
No, it's more taking from the many to give to the privileged few, as is the Westin Hotel. There used to be a time, believe it or not, when people could build luxury hotels, and did build them, like a Westin or a Marriott or a Hyatt or whatever, out of their own pocketbooks. The shareholders of those companies paid for it, and then if they sold the rooms for enough money, they got some more money back. They didn't have to go to the taxpayers of a city to build a welfare hotel. There are plenty of hotels already at Denver, in the Denver DIA area, which didn't need taxpayer funding to get built. He's talking about raising property taxes. That means on the person who's just making it month to month, sometimes has where you run out of money before you run out at the end of the month, and that person's going to have to pay higher property taxes. People who buy new homes or new condos or new apartments, well, when you raise the fees to the developers, those are going to go straight into increased prices for all the people who want to have a place to live. Now, maybe if it's a $3 million condo, so what? But there's also a lot of fees that are going to be paid by the people who are just trying to get normal middle-class housing, which is now going to become less affordable, all for the benefit of a lucky few, relatively speaking, who are going to get housing that is subsidized by everybody else. The better way to affordable housing is to let people build housing and sell it for the market price to everyone, which will, by its nature, include a mix of lesser income, middle income, and higher income, and the government micromanagement of this makes it worse and just results in wealth transfers rather than the growth in the wealth and well-being of the society.
Penn Tate joins us, attorney from QTAC Rock and a longtime state lawmaker. What did you think of both the State of the City address and the proposals of how to pay for this affordable housing program?
I think this is the best State of the City speech the mayor's given in his years in office. I think he was on point, he was relaxed, and he worked through the themes and brought some levity to the situation also at appropriate times. I also like the speech because it's been my personal opinion that as a community, we have missed the point for about 20 years. We've been focused on projects, and we haven't focused on the human infrastructure of the city. So when you look around and you look at the the homeless situation, the lack of affordable housing, the deterioration of roads, what's happening to some of the parks. That didn't just happen during the last 5 years of the Hancock administration. That's been coming for quite a while because as a community, I think City Hall's been focused on other stuff and not focused on people. And what I really appreciated about Mayor Hancock's speech is he's made it clear that his focus now is going to be redirected, not necessarily on stuff, but on taking care of people who actually make up the city of Denver. Now, having said all that, it was kind of ironic. It was out at DIA, a train right away, where it wasn't necessarily accessible to all of the people like it used to be in City Park or Washington, Wash Park or something where you just show up there and hang around in the fringes and hear the speech. But I think the substance of the speech was the right thing. The housing program is going to be interesting because I think David's right. People are concerned about their finances. They're concerned about, we've come out of the Great Recession. We're starting to recover. But, a lot of people have wealth on paper. Their homes are worth $1 jillion, but they can't realize it unless they go out and take a loan against it. And you don't want to do that in case the value plummets or unless you sell. And the problem if you sell is you can't afford to move someplace else. So focusing on affordable housing is the right thing to do. It is going to be interesting what comes out of City Council and what voters will do with this proposal, because I do think we've got the point where voters are being fatigued with all of these ballot initiatives saying, vote for this, raise your taxes because we need to do certain good things. But I think the mayor's got the right issue. The question is going to be mechanically, is this the way to get it done?
Ed Seelever from the Denver Business Journal rounds up the panel. How is the business community responding to the idea that there's going to be pretty significant developer fees as part of paying for this program?
Well, obviously they're not happy. The business community has really pushed, especially in the development community, for a different solution, and that is one they've actually gotten from the city, but not from the state. That is, make it a lot harder to sue people over construction defects in condos. You would actually have condos being built for under $450,000 a piece, they say. It's interesting, though. I mean, I think it's not just the developer community that has reacted to this. And I should say the city passed that. The state didn't. A lot of developers don't feel like they have legal boundaries on their side to go out and build without the city law being sued off the books. But the other thing that was very striking to me, and I was covering this speech, and I ran up to the mayor to talk about this afterwards, was that he went through the talk about homelessness, and he went through the talks about problems that have led to increased violence, and yet he somehow skipped entirely any mention of the 16th Street Mall, which has dealt with the problems of homelessness and violence. I mean, he had these very big picture topics, but he seemed to not really want to take on the topic that, especially after some of the videos that have gone viral of people attacking other people with PVC pipe, that are maybe the most glaring example of where we're having problems here in the city. Now, he told me, he said, look, I've been talking about 16th Street Mall for the last month. That's absolutely true, but he's also been talking about affordable housing for the last year, and he spent a good portion of the speech going back over that important topic. The homelessness is an important topic. The affordable housing is an important topic. But I think business is a little leery. They want to make sure they're not left behind in this. He announces there's going to be 2 new, basically enterprise zones that are going in the Sun Valley area and out in the northeast part of the city, and that's great for getting business there. But you can't let the core of your city, the one place where more visitors go than any other, we find out year after year, rot like this, especially, and it seemed almost appropriate that just yesterday you see Channel 4 reports, and then we had followed it up, that Visit Denver has gotten a report saying some convention planners will not bring their conventions back to Denver because they are worried about public safety and homeless problems on the 16th Street Mall. You can't forget about what's already there as you're looking to build up these new enterprise zones.
That's all the time we have for Colorado Inside Postgame this week. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. For everyone here at CPT12.org, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.